Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our current session focuses on examples of language families and family trees. I hope and expect by the end of this session you would be able to understand what are the main family divisions of languages and how do they correlate. Well, my dear students, the process of divergent development that takes place in languages, it leads towards the creation of new languages, the formation of new languages. And actually, this process has occurred so many times. This is a cyclical process that has taken place so many times in human history that over the times, through this divergent process, varieties of language have taken birth. And if we look at today's world, over 6,000 different languages are spoken in the world today. Many of them belong to some group of related languages, and they have kind of language families, and through language family trees we can trace their ancestry. However, there are some languages which do not fall under any particular family. My dear students, through divergent development, a language may itself give rise to further other languages through the process of continuously developing and changing. Out of the languages that would be born out of that language, then each of those new languages in itself would give birth to new languages. Thus, this divergent process would keep on, going on, and there would be a lot of, dissimilarities, though some similarities in that whole range of languages. Here I would give you some examples of language families and family trees. As an example, I would start with Semitic group of languages. Well, my dear students, at the time of the earliest written records, this was already a family with many members in it. So, in Mesopotamia were the East Semitic languages, Babylonian and Assyrian, while around the eastern shores of Mediterranean were the West Semitic languages such as, notice the names, Moabite, Phoenician, Aramic, and Hebrew. Maybe many of these would sound very unfamiliar to you. The East Semitic languages have died out and the most successful have survived through the times. When we talk of Semitic language is undoubtedly Semitic language is undoubtedly Arabic in origin, actually Arabic as a South Semitic language. Also Syriac, Ethiopian, and Hebrew, these three languages have survived through the times. However, my dear students, these Semitic languages, they themselves are related to another family, and that is of Hamitic languages. And at some time point in the remote past, say some 3,000 years back or something, there must have been a single Hamateo-Semitic language. So, all the languages that are Semitic and all the languages that are Hamitic, they all come from one ancestry that was Hamateo-Semitic language. And out of all that, all these have now branched out. Another example that I would like to give of a family tree is of Ural-Altic language family. This has two main branches, Finno-Ugrian and Altic. The Finno-Ugrian group includes many languages. I hope you are familiar, at least these words sound familiar. Hungarian language, Finnish language, Estonian, and Sami languages, while the Altic part, this part includes Turkish and Mongol languages. In Finland or in Hungary, one may be struck by the complete unfamiliarity of this language, whereas in most of the Europe, there are a lot of words that can be guessed, or which at any rate do not seem to be difficult to remember once you encounter them. I would just give you an example of the English numerals and how they sound in different, languages of the family. So the numerals 1, 2, and 3, when you look at German, they would be, again, excuse me for my pronunciation because I'm not sure how they are pronounced. I don't know all these languages. Eins, zwei, or drei in German. In Swedish, en, zwei, or three. So, you can still trace some resemblance with 1, 2, and 3. And French, un, deux, or trois. So, we can trace some similarity in the sound and some similarity in the letters that are used to represent them. But if you look at the Finnish words, they are completely different. They are eksi, kaksi, or kome. In the same way, the Hungarian words, again, all the three for 1, 2, and 3 are completely different. They all sound strange to us. They do not, we cannot relate to these sounds or these letters anyways. What is the reason? Because English and most of the European languages, they belong to a family that is quite unrelated to this family, this Ural-Altic family. So, this familiarity that we feel is because somewhere in the past there is a connection, and this unfamiliarity that we come across, the feeling of strangeness that comes with, certain words in a language is because there is no connectivity in the past, there is no family relationship. Another family with an enormous number of speakers is the Sino-Tibetan language. Here I have encircled that for you, which includes certain languages such as Thai language, Burmese language, Tibetan, and various dialects of Chinese language. So, all these languages that I have tick-marked here, they have certain similarities in vocabulary and, of course, in pronunciation as well. So this was some idea of how there are certain main families in the history of human language and how certain families have various sets of languages that relate and that can be identified through their similarities with each other. However, there are some languages that are completely isolated, which have no family connections as such, and the example is of Basque language that is spoken by almost a million people in the French and Spanish areas.